All right. Well, in case you didn't know or you have not heard, the Democrat Party, especially there in New York, has officially been taken over by the socialist, left-wing, extremist, most radical end of the party, because Zohran Mamdani has just beat out establishment Andrew Cuomo. Now, Andrew Cuomo was the mayor of New York during the pandemic. He's also Chris Cuomo, who's with News Nation. That's his brother. Now, Andrew Cuomo was shamed out of office when he left previously. He had all types of assault allegations against him, not to mention the situation where he put people that were infected mixed in with elderlies and different nursing homes up there in New York that led to a lot of people losing their lives and cost him, you know, a whole lot politically. Well, he tried to climb himself out of the ashes and rise like the phoenix just to be beat down by the most extreme politician the United States of America has ever seen. This dude is Bernie Sanders on Arnold Schwarzenegger style steroids mixed in with, I don't even know. I've never seen anything like it. Now, in this video, I'm going to show you what the lamestream media refuses to show, which is why it is good for the Republicans that this extreme individual has just made himself known, not just to New Yorkers, but to the rest of the country, because this is really who's been running the Democrat Party for the last 5, 6, or 7 years. And the Democrats have tried their best to keep these people at bay. Pelosi tried it. Schumer tried it. But guess what? They've been beat back by the same radicals that they have created. So let's get off into this article, then I'm going to get into these video clips. So check this out. So right here, and this isn't an American outlet right here that's saying this. This is India Today, okay? And even though all the American outlets do it, but you know how they have some right, some left bias. Let's see how the Indians actually feel about this individual, because that's where he's from. So snake oil seller to 100% communist. Why Mamdani is facing backlash tsunami. Zohran Mamdani is facing fierce backlash after his victory in New York's Democratic mayoral primary. Mamdani is the son of Indian-American filmmaker Meera Nair. Mamdani's critics include U.S. President Donald Trump, New York City Mayor Eric Adams, as well as fellow Democrats. Now, this is the individual right here. Hours after winning the Democratic Democratic primary nominee for the November New York mayoral election, Zohran Mamdani, son of Indian-American filmmaker, found himself at the center of political firestorm. From U.S. President Donald Trump to Mayor Eric Adams, critics across the political spectrum have launched blistering attacks, branding him everything from a snake oil seller to a 100% communist. Now, let's get off into why. Now, in this first video clip I want to show you, this here is where Mr. Mamdani is going to tell you exactly what he feels about the police department and how he plans to handle the police department and policing New York City. Check this out.
Are you for defunding the police? Are you for a serious reform that people can see on the ground?
I am in favor of defunding the police.
Can you elaborate?
Yes. What that means is that right now in New York City, we have a budget of close to $6 billion for the New York City Police Department. Mm-hmm. And that is an astronomical figure.
Wow.
And I think that what we need to do is not chip away $1 million or $5 million. I think in this first year, we need to take $1 billion out of that budget. And I think that we need to reinvest that money into social services.
Are you for...
Now, you heard that. Now, in this next clip here, as we know, New York City, New York is the epicenter for commerce in America. Everything, right, flows through New York. We know that. But here's what Mamdani wants to do to New York, which will completely obliterate and destroy New York, not to mention completely potentially rock the economic structure in America. Now, most of these Democrat left-wing extremists always want to support the Democrats, and they want to put down President Trump, always talking about he wants to give tax cuts to the billionaires. But what they don't tell people is included in President Trump's bill is also the largest permanent tax cut for the middle class, because it isn't just about billionaires or Main Street. It's about cutting taxes, period, because it frees up revenue, which helps expand and open new markets. The more the government takes from you and spends it on what the government wants, the less good it does for the people. Why? Because the government is ran by bureaucrats, not business people. Many of these folks, most are lifelong politicians. They've never balanced the budget. They've never put together an infrastructure. They've never had to hire talent and manage a project. Never. They beg for other people's money. They jump on to things that are created by other great men that the government decides to take over and run it into the ground. Look at what happened when the government got involved with GM. Did it get better or get worse? So let's just be real. When the government gets involved, it's terrible for business. But let's listen to what Mamdani says he wants to do for businesses in New York. And not just in New York. Check this out and tell me, is this going to help the Democrats win? Not just an election in a deep blue, psycho New York City, where you got a lot of blue-haired left-wing extremists that agree with this socialist crap. But even he's gone too far. Check this out.
I've proposed is that we raise $10 billion to pay for our entire economic agenda and start to Trump-proof our city, because we know he'll use federal funding as leverage over this city. And we will do so in two key ways. The first is to match the state's top corporate tax rate to that of New Jersey. We are at 7.25%. They're at 11.5%. Corporations can pay it over there. They can pay it over here. And the beauty of it is that it doesn't just apply to corporations headquartered in New York City. Because when you say this, people will say, well, they're going to go to Florida. Mm-hmm. Wherever you are headquartered, as long as you do business in the state of New York, you are taxable for that corporate tax. We're talking about corporations that are making millions of dollars, not in revenue, but in profit. And the second is taxing the top 1% of New Yorkers. We're talking about people who make $1 million a year or more, taxing them just by a flat 2% tax increase. And I know if 50 Cent is listening, he's not going to be happy about this. Mm-hmm. He tends to not like this tax policy, but I want to be very clear. This is about $20,000 a year. It's a rounding error. And all of these things together, they make every New Yorker's life better, including those who are actually getting taxed.
Now, you also want to cut.
If you're enjoying this video, do me a solid, hit that thumbs up, because I will never ask you for a cash app or a super chat, but you hitting that like button, it really helps the channel. It helps get the information out there. And if you aren't subscribed, subscribe. And once you do, whether you are subscribed or just subscribing today, make sure you hit the notifications and select all so you can be notified when I upload new videos. YouTube has been doing a terrible job with notifications, so make sure that you hit the notification bell and select all so you don't miss the new videos coming out. Now, let me explain that this individual says that whether your business is headquartered in New York or not, you're going to be slapped with an 11.5% state tax. It's currently at 7. They want to take it to 11.5 to match New Jersey, and not just for people headquartered. If you just do business in New York, what do you think that's going to do to the business in New York? And I live in Florida. We welcome people like Mamdani because it keeps bringing all them companies here to Florida or to Texas, where we don't have state tax, none. And our governor right now is working on removing property taxes because my home is paid for. My wife and our properties are paid for. So all we had left is property taxes, and they do away with that. Why would I ever leave Florida? But that's what this man's plan is. And look at that Cheshire cat grin on his face. Now, when have we ever heard this? Oh, he said it would only be a 2% tax on the top 1%. Do you know when the last time we heard things like this? It was in 1913 when the Democrat president Woodrow Wilson first instituted the income tax, the federal income tax, because prior to that, it was tariff-based. And in 1913, how he was able to sell it to the American people was that the income tax would only be on the top 1% of 1%. So they would tax the top 1% at only a 1% income tax. You know, nothing big. Just those rich people having to pay their fair share. Look up now. From 1913 to a little bit over 100 years later, everybody's paying the income tax, and it's at 7%. And it's not just for those top 1%. As a matter of fact, they figured out how to beat that game too. So the Democrats always try to sell it like we're going after those rich and elites, but it always matriculates down to the common folks, because at the end of the day, that's who they really want to tax. Think about something. The Democrat Party is funded and based with billionaires and elitists. You mean to tell me they running on the fact that they want to tax the people that support them? No, they know, hey, listen, we'll just sell this to them. They'll buy into it. And then we'll create loopholes for y'all. Don't worry about it. And then they'll be stuck with it. That's exactly what they do. Now, let's listen to this next clip, which, of course, the lamestream media definitely doesn't want the American people to know about what Mamdani feels he wants to do with taxpayer money when it comes to gender-affirming care. That's right. If you believe your taxpaying dollar should not be paying for men to get splits and for chicks to get you know what, You want to stay as far away from New York as you possibly can, because listen to what this individual's plan is and listen to how much he's willing to spend. Check this out.
And one of the things that we've said, beyond saying that we're going to make this a sanctuary city for LGBTQIA plus workers, beyond saying that we're going to establish an office of LGBTQIA plus affairs, is also that we're going to provide $65 million of funding for gender-affirming care, the same amount of funding that the federal government threatened to pull out from local providers for that kind of work. And in this moment especially, if we want to fight the Trump administration, we have to do so by fully funding our own services, taxing the wealthiest New Yorkers and corporations here. And one of the things that we've said.
So you just heard it right. This individual wants to take tax revenue and use it. We talking about $65 billion, I believe is what he said, for gender affirming care, to change boys into girls and girls into boys. He wants to tax the wealthiest corporations and the wealthiest individuals. At least that's how it starts at first, so they could fund gender affirming care for people who typically and otherwise would never get it. Matter of fact, it's against federal law. So you heard him say there, since the federal government won't fund it, they're going to figure ways to fund it themselves. And how will they do that? Through taxes, hiking tax. Just know this, the Democrats are all about taxes. That's all they care about is taxation. That's it. They believe in government. Oh, another thing this person wants, he wants state-run grocery stores. He wants free rent so that all those landlords will not be able to charge rent. All those grocery store owners won't be able to make money or start their businesses. This dude is a lunatic. And if New York isn't careful, they're going to screw themselves over so bad that they will never be able to return to being the epicenter of the country like it has been since the country was founded. It's New York City, the Big Apple, Statue of Liberty. Now it's being turned into a statue of socialism. Never thought I would live to see the day that the far left-wing extremist Marxists would take over the Democrat Party. It's great for Republicans because there is no way this left-wing extremist radical crap can win on the national stage. This person even said if Netanyahu from Israel showed up in New York, he would have him arrested. Now, this guy is a mayor. You don't have any international pull. You don't even have any federal pull. You're a mayor of New York City, and now you're arresting presidents of international countries. Get out of here. This dude is a psychopath. He needs to stay as far away as he can from the mayor's seat of New York if New York wants to have a fighting chance of surviving. If they don't, keep going on the path they are and letting AOC and Mamdani and these other radical extremists, Garcia out of California, run the party, and we'll have Republican leadership for the next 40 or 50 years, which would be just fine with me. But hey, tell me what you think about this. Do you support this guy, or can you see right through his BS? Leave a comment. And if you haven't already, hit that like button. Tell me what you think. And if you aren't subscribed, subscribe. Most importantly, I want you to be safe and you stay great. I'm Brian Maxwell saying I look forward to seeing you at the top. Over and out, y'all.